Had a great conversation with Andee. I could tell that she really knew the ins and outs of the industry. I really liked.
Hi everyone, welcome to the first episode of our Team Andee podcast. So this one is an interview with a client that had just closed in December, going over his experience with Team Andee, and we did this through a live video Q&A. I hope you like it. Check it out.
Andee, nice to officially meet you, and I appreciate you taking the time to join me here for a couple minutes.
No worries.
So if you can give me some understanding of how you initially got introduced to Andee.
So initially I was already looking for a property back in late 2019, and I'd already gone through the process of almost purchasing a property, and it fell through, and I wasn't particularly happy with the way in which the mortgage broker that I was dealing with at the time was the kind of relationship that I had. There were a few things that I had to question. So I just put it out there to see if there was anyone else available on the market, and I applied through American Pacific Mortgage, and I got a phone call from Andee. Had a great conversation with Andee. I could tell that she really knew the ins and outs of the industry. I really liked her no-nonsense attitude, which was fantastic. It worked with exactly how I like to work. She was able to provide very good, clear context as to how other companies were able to manipulate their loans to make them appear better than they actually were, which I really appreciated. So I gave Andee the green light to move ahead, and I switched my mortgage advisor over to her, and I have stuck with her ever since.
So it sounds like then she's worked with you for a couple transactions now. Is that right?
Yes, 3.
Oh, wow. Okay, fantastic. Yeah. So appreciate the loyalty in the business. And so when it came to kind of discussing options that you had available and kind of understanding interest rates, how did you feel like? Did you feel like you got the information that you were looking for and understood why you got the interest rate that you got?
Yes, Andee is very good at being able to analyze your financial circumstances, but work the system in a way that allows you to buy the best property that's available to you within your budget. So for my first transaction, I actually saw a townhome that the price range seemed to be out of my scope. So I actually, when I saw this place, I thought it would be a perfect opportunity, but my attitude towards it was, it's out of my price range. If it happens, it happens. So I gave Andee a call, and I gave her the full scenario of what was going on. And she immediately said, hang on, let me go and see if there's anything that I can do to make this happen. 4 weeks later, I was in the property. And she was able to, really look at, okay, what is the absolute maximum that we can go to? And we worked very closely with the sellers, and they were very happy with the proposal that we had. And it wasn't an amount that put my financial stability at risk. It was very realistic, and she was able to project what the exact, closing costs and the estimated percentage range that I'd be paying, and we made it happen.
Fantastic. So you've done a couple deals with us now, so 3 total. The stress levels in purchasing a home can be high, right? There's a lot of moving pieces with it. How did we execute from a timeline perspective? Was Andee able to close you on time? And how did she kind of navigate you through that timeline of a short window there?
So every single time I have worked with Andee, she has exceeded my expectations for closing the timelines. And the last transaction was closed and ready to go within a matter of I submitted all my stuff, and within a week, I think it was, the loan was approved. And I was stunned of how quickly it could move. And I actually had in the last transaction a very tight timeline, because the agreement that I had with the purchasers of my previous property was that they would actually have access to property within a very short escrow period. And the reason for that was they were getting married and they wanted to be in the property to make some changes beforehand. So I ended up in a situation where I ended up closing a lot quicker than anticipated. And thanks to Andee, we were able to, meet that really tight deadline. I mean, California is quick. That was the quickest I'd ever, experienced. And actually, when I was telling my friends, they were like, wow, that we've never heard of a property like, a loan being made available that quickly. So again, thanks to Andee and her ability to navigate through. And I also understand that there are certain market conditions that occur that allow things to happen quicker as well. And I think because of the current situation where there's not necessarily as many mortgages closing, things were able to turn around quicker, which is something I think people need to bear in mind. But every single transaction has been closed either on time or exceeded my expectations.
Fantastic, thank you. And last question I got for you. So for others that may be watching this, potentially maybe buying their first home, or maybe their fourth or fifth home, right? Any feedback that you would give that you would kind of find value, that others would find value in?
I would say understand the full closing cost situation. Andee was fantastic in guiding me through that in my first transaction. It's very scary when you see the initial figures come in. However, she's great at reassuring you that they have to project the maximum amount that it could possibly cost for you to close on a particular loan. But the reassurance there is it is the maximum, that isn't what you're going to be paying. So when you see things for the first time, it's scary, but stay with it. And actually, Andee will take you through and really help you understand what it is you're really going to be paying when it comes to closing. To me, the closing side of things was the scariest part, because you see all the fees and things coming through on the sheets. And you're like, what does this mean? What does that mean? Go, if you have any questions, anything at all, I could either send a text or I could send a voicemail, or I could just call up Andee and she was available, and she was more than happy to take me through and answer any questions. And then with the last property, the one that I'm now sat in, she was able to, with the last property that Andee and I closed on, we were able to actually figure out a way of buying down my rate, which turned out to be a much lower rate than the current average market. So again, I was able to get into a property where what seemed to be a higher price bracket to what I was originally approved for, I was actually able to afford a property that I didn't think I'd be able to afford. And lo and behold, I'm now in a fantastic 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom townhouse. And it's actually a single living dwelling, not a condo. So we were able to make some additional amendments to the loan that allowed me to afford this place.
That's fantastic. I mean, just listening to that, right? So it's understanding it, because there's a lot of information online, right? And you can think you know what you're doing, but there's a lot of ins and outs to it. And it's really, I'm really happy to hear that you were able to eventually kind of get into a home that initially you never would have thought you could have afforded. But by a little bit of creativity and just kind of discussing things, you were able to get into something and still be able to afford it as well too, right? So that's awesome.
And that's been the case for both of the purchases. So the 3 transactions I had was the first purchase, then a refinance, and then my second purchase. And for both purchases, it was an estimated value that it'd be nice if I could afford that, but I'm not going to put my hopes up. Let me give Andee a call and see what we can do. And because I've got this great relationship with Andee, we were able to go through the ins and outs, what's feasible, what's not, and just move forward. And I know that I'm going to be using her for all my future purchases because we've got that great rapport. She understands my needs. And I understand her dynamic, which is very crucial. I know that if I leave a voicemail, she's going to get back to me. If I have any questions, she is going to get back to me on any queries that I have. And if there are any really pressing things, I know she's going to give me a call and we can have that conversation that's going to give me that ease of mind.
Fantastic. Really do appreciate everything, Andee, especially taking time out of your day. I know you got a busy schedule. Really appreciate you doing this for us. But anyways, again, Andee, thank you so much. And have a fantastic weekend and stay dry out there as well, too.
Yeah, oh good, yes. All right, have a great one. Thank you.
Man, take it easy. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow, that was great. Big thank you to Andee and Kevin for taking the time out and filming that. I really appreciate all the kind words. Andee, you're always so wonderful to work for. I will always be here to guide you through anything, another purchase, refinance. Thank you so much. That was so great. And that's what it's all about. We are here to create experiences that matter. We work for our clients. We come to work every day, making sure that we have happy clients. They understand the process. They're getting into homes that they love but can afford as well. Please give us a call. Happy to work for you as well and make your homeownership dreams come true. Let's make it possible. Thanks. Be sure to check out episode 2 of the Team Andee podcast, where we'll chat with another client that used Team Andee. So we'll hear her experiences, but also use the First-time Homebuyer Program with down payment assistance. So that's going to be one you don't want to miss. Stay tuned.